Parliament debates government's debt restructuring plan. Another Carnival cruise ship is making a stop in Barbados. And a community remembers a 16-year-old who died tragically.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening. I'm Lisa Broom, and we begin tonight with a severe weather bulletin that has been issued by the Barbados Met Office. Now, it has to do with the remnants of Tropical Depression Kirk, which are expected, that is, to affect Barbados. Our weather presenter Wayne McGarry joins us now with this development. Wayne, what can you tell us?
Hi, Lisa, and hi to our viewers. Now, presently we have issued a severe weather statement, and this is in association with the remnants of Tropical Storm Kirk, which is now considered a strong tropical wave. Now, there is the potential for some redevelopment or some intensification over the next few days, but regardless of that, and of course, a tropical storm watch or warning may be issued at short notice. But regardless of that, we're seeing some strong winds, sustained winds, late Wednesday into Thursday, sustained around 25 to 35 miles per hour winds, potential for at least 2 inches of rainfall as well. We're looking at high surf advisory, small craft warning, all these things will be in effect. But of course, I'll give you a bit more about that a little later on in the news. But continue to pay close attention to this system, because although it's not considered a tropical cyclone, there's still the possibility of some showers as well as some sustained strong winds from this system. Lisa?
Wayne, so as we monitor this system, can you tell us what kind of activity we're going to be expecting? Are we going to be expecting flooding? Is it going to be heavy rains, thunderstorms? Exactly what can we expect? Okay,
well, we're looking at some pockets of moderate to heavy showers. Of course, as I said, we see an increase in wind speeds just below storm force, with gusts of up to storm force as well. We also are expecting that there's the potential, as I said, for some flooding, because we see at least 2 inches of rainfall associated with this system as well. So flooding, of course, high winds, so you need to pay close attention to that. Of course, the necessary things in terms of the island and whatnot, the necessary authorities will make those decisions in terms of the shutdown the island if that is required.
If that is necessary. Wayne McGarry, meteorologist, of course, he will give you more details in the weather segment later on the evening news. Well, Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, has promised that government will not rest on its laurels as it works to turn Barbados' economy around. Mr. Strawn says while some may think government is moving too fast with its initiatives, it's working hard to ensure confidence in public finances and the way that business is done is restored. He revealed that had government not acted quickly, Barbados' foreign reserves would have been in a dire state today.
Had we continued what the previous government did, sir, we would not have any foreign reserves today. Because had we not suspended our external debt payments, sir, in June, we would not have the capacity, sir, to adequately defend against the peg. And the truth is, sir, there's still a lot of work to go. And I want Barbadians to appreciate that what we are doing here, because we are unanimous in one thing in Barbados, sir, and is that we want to maintain the fixed exchange rate.
Well, Mr. Strawn made the comment as he led off debate on the debt holder approval of Debt Restructuring Bill 2018 in the House today. He says government will focus on improving the delivery and cost of services.
Those are the kinds of efficiencies, sir, that we must now come to be known for in the 21st century. Because as we will discuss certainly when we get to the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program, sir, there are elements in there, sir, that require us as a country, sir, to lift our standards so that anything that is done in New York or London or Hong Kong, that we must be able to do better.
Well, Labour Minister Colin Jordan says Barbados was saved by the people on May 24th when they voted in the Barbados Labour Party. He says when the BLP came to power, that was phase 1 of restoring the island's economy, and phase 2 is the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation, or BERT, program.
It is our plan. It is not the plan of the International Monetary Fund. And we need to make that very clear. That needs to be repeated. It is not the IMF's plan. When the IMF staff came to Barbados, they came to review our plan. They came to discuss our plan. And the only reason that we could have reached a staff-level agreement in just over 3 months of coming into office is if we had a plan.
Opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley wants government to paint a true picture of how badly the solutions it has planned for economic recovery will affect Barbadians. The St. Michael West MP also warns that things are likely to still be bleak after the planned 4-year austerity period.
Because if we don't get past this 4-year period successfully, and if we don't find ways of growing this economy and exporting at the same time while we do these cutbacks, we are in serious, serious stress at the end of that 4-year period. Now, I notice that much which attaches itself to this program of governments, this BERT program of government, even with respect to the rearrangements for these securities, take us down to the year 2033. It means that there are those who understand that we are in for the long journey. We need more than breakfast. We need lunch, we need dinner, but the country is bankrupt.
Bishop Atherley says he's also not convinced that debt restructuring is the best option for Barbados at this time.
It is hard to understand that we're entering into an IMF program, but this type of program is being entered into at a time when none of the main planks of the Barbadian economy, none of them performing, not a single one of them. Tourism is performing best. And even the Minister of Tourism will tell you, the Honorable Minister of Tourism will tell you, we're seeing numbers, but the spend is not there.
Attorney General Dale Marshall is acting as Prime Minister, while Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley is at the United Nations on official business. Minister of Home Affairs Edmund Hinkson is acting as Attorney General during the period. In other news now, Barbados has opened its seaport to yet another cruise ship. The Carnival Breeze became the latest of Carnival Destinations' impressive fleet to make Barbados one of its ports of call. And this morning, Tourism Minister Carrie Simmons paid the vessel a courtesy call. Shane Jones joined the delegation at the Barbados port.
Weighing in at 130,000 tons and over 1,000 feet long, the Italian-built Carnival Breeze brought just about 3,500 passengers on its maiden voyage to Barbados. The vessel boasts 14 passenger decks, restaurants, a huge casino, spa, gym, a water park, pool deck, theater screens, and spectacular views. And that's just to name a few of its many spectacular features. Tourism and International Transport Minister Carrie Simmons presented Captain Rocco Lubrano with a token commemorating the inaugural visit. Captain Lubrano says his guests and 1,300-member crew have been enjoying the island.
You offer so much, not just the beaches, but unique history of your sugar cane, of course, as well as your afternoon tea.
Tourism Minister Simmons says Barbados and Carnival enjoy a great relationship which must be deepened. He says one way to do so would be investing in the human resource development of Barbados.
We now want to be able to get Barbadians to take an active interest in the professional side of maritime matters, so that we would be hoping to train ship's captains and certainly engineers and all of the different levels of staff who could possibly come from Barbados, but then put them in a position where they can find employment in due course in the cruise industry.
Minister Simmons is hopeful the partnership will positively impact the attractions that Barbados has to offer. He also hinted at an attraction in honor of Barbadian pop icon Rihanna.
To be the best, you have to compete with the best. And that means evaluating that which we offer by way of tourism attractions, assessing their strengths and weaknesses, refreshing them, building additional capacity, and working with entities such as Carnival Corporation, which are prepared to help play a developmental role. And among some of the things we've been talking about, frankly, is the way in which we can work with our own global icon, Rihanna, in order to build out an attraction in her honor.
Carnival Breeze will visit Barbados again in November. Shane Jones, CBC News.
Barbados' tourism sector is expected to be given a boost in the coming weeks through a music festival that's growing in appeal. The Elan Trotman Jazz Excursion and Golf Weekend is expected to attract over 300 visitors from the U.S., Europe, and the region. The event will be held from October 4th to 8th. Executive producer Elan Trotman says the event, which started about 5 years ago, continues to attract world-class live talent.
This year, we see a lot of movement again from the northeast part of the states. You know, the gateways where the flights are a little bit more accessible in Florida area, the Atlanta area, New York, Miami, where I'm based in Massachusetts, and that whole New England area. But we also see a lot of movement from California because there's a lot of people there that love to travel and love music. So, and we also did some promotion in Trinidad this year. We have one of our artists coming from Trinidad to perform, and we have some diehard fans in the UK area as well. And we also did a promotion with the Toronto office.
The Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. is partnering with the Trotman Group on this venture.
And for the artist, we have Najee, who is a dear friend of mine, Grammy-nominated saxophonist, multi-platinum selling artist. When you talk about saxophone players and awards and accolades, he's definitely up there. Mesa is a talented vocalist that was with the group Incognito based in the UK. And we have a host of awesome performers throughout the entire weekend.
The St. Leonard's Boys' School will remain closed for the remainder of the week. The school was closed from Monday because of an environmental problem there. Well, now the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training says it regrets any inconvenience this closure may cause. Well, it's been a painful 48 hours for friends and family of 16-year-old Shamar Chase, the country's latest road fatality. Kareem Smith paid a visit to 2 separate communities where his loved ones are only just coming to grips with the loss.
It's been days since 16-year-old Shamar Chase tragically died at this junction, an incident that is still sending shockwaves through the communities where he was loved.
I used to let him do bits and pieces in the bakery, and he always tell me, I'm a quick learner. I can learn anything, and he truly was. And he was one of the most amazing person I ever met in my life. He was kind. Don't matter what you asked him to do, he was like, yes, I can do that, you know?
The words of a grief-stricken woman with whom Shamar spent plenty of time assisting at her small roadside bakery near the scene of the accident. The former St. George secondary student died minutes after leaving for the final time. His bicycle, bent and broken into 4 pieces, was a ghastly reminder of the horrible way in which he died. The helmet he wore on this occasion wasn't enough to save him. Others who live in that Rock Hall St. Philip community say his impact for the approximately 3 months they knew him was tremendous. But in the community of Packers, where his mother lives, and a stone's throw away in Bright Hill, where he lived with his father, it was felt the most. Worsening the impact of the situation is the fact that young Shamar died on the 21st birthday of his sister.
This is the 2nd day. I'm here sitting down again. I just be looking at the road to see if he'll be here walking, coming down. Because it just ain't that I sound like a mad person, but when standing hit you and you know that I ain't dead, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't me yet that he gone.
If I want him to do anything for me, he can come while I'm in the kitchen cooking or doing anything, he can come and tell me and leave it, I'm going to do it for you, and he can do it. No matter what I told you, he needs to listen to me very good.
Members of the closely knit grief-stricken communities will come together once again for a vigil on the 1-week anniversary of Shamar's death to celebrate the short life of a 16-year-old who brought joy into their lives. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Well, Shamar Chase's untimely death has also sparked a discussion among those close to him about a lack of safety at the intersection where he died. They say motorists need to exercise more caution, and they're also asking authorities to put measures in place to minimize the possibility of even more fatalities. And while many of the residents preferred not to speak on camera, they recommended flashing amber lights to alert motorists of the need to proceed more cautiously. In addition, they say better overall lighting, road humps, and/or a small roundabout could prevent other lives from being lost. The board of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is not looking at implementing user fees at the facility, at least not yet. Chairman Juliet Bino-Sutherland says the board is trying to find ways to make the hospital's operations more efficient, but that option has not yet been put on the table. She tells the media over the last 2 months they've been examining the services provided to see if these can be done outside of the hospital at a lesser cost.
The issue of user fees hasn't come up yet as a policy recommendation, and we certainly I don't think that is our general orientation, because what we're finding already within the existing resources of the hospital, there is a lot of wastage. So in my view, before we can start talking about adding additional costs onto the public of Barbados, we need to look at if we're using the resources that we have here as effectively as we can, and that is where we are.
And on that issue of wastage, Mrs. Bino-Sutherland says the hospital loses much of its resources by continuing to use systems that are not monitored or evaluated correctly, or by using outdated technology. In fact, she says there are some areas that need more rather than fewer resources, and the plan is to understand how they are allocated and redeploy where necessary.
We recognize that there are simple technological solutions, not high-tech, not advanced, not expensive. Let's use an example like bed management. So the beds, it's a well-known open secret within the Queen Elizabeth Hospital that beds are not managed properly, that theatre services are not managed properly. So we're thinking if we deploy some solutions and look more at how we achieve efficiencies from what we're doing, that is the kind of what we call dissection that we're doing of the services at the hospital.
Well, it was a special occasion this weekend when a true son of the soil celebrated his 80th birthday. Lois Hunt, a former magistrate, legal draftsman and Attorney General of Tortola, has also launched a book of memoirs detailing his career.
Several members of the diplomatic corps, the legal and medical profession, turned out to the gala occasion at one of the Sandy Lane estates. It was a tribute to a man who at one point considered going into clergy, but this was not to be.
When I left school, my intention was to become an Anglican priest, and I was more or less admitted into Codrington College, waiting till I was about 20 or 21 to go in. But then I went to work in the court after a spell in the teaching service, and the magistrate of the day, in my opinion, he was one of the really good ones, but he was a layman. His name was Aurelius Washington Harper, and he encouraged me to become a lawyer.
Mr. Hunt instead saw himself being thrust into the legal profession, somewhat like the accidental tourist. However, he was always at the right place at the right time. The Queen's Counsel says there were many who contributed to his advancement in the legal sphere, but 3 stand out significantly.
I went into the chambers of Mr. Elson Carmichael, but I wasn't there for very long before the Chief Justice, Sir William Douglas, invited me into the public service. I was given the post of Deputy Registrar of the Supreme Court, but after only 7 months in that job, I was offered another job in Jamaica as Deputy Registrar of the Court of Appeal. I took that job, but after 2 years, Sir William himself came to Jamaica and invited me back home to take up the post of magistrate. There was a practitioner at the bar, Mr. E.W. Barrow, at the time, and he offered to sign the form for admission to Gray's Inn. And when I went for him to sign my application form, he was not in his office, and Mr. Moore volunteered to sign it. So he did me a great favor, and I have never forgotten it, and never will.
The witty legal luminary reflected on his days as a magistrate, pointing out that he preferred civil cases to criminal ones, even noting that criminal cases were very rare.
As a matter of fact, I only did two preliminary inquiries for murder cases, and one was in St. Peter and the other was at Holt Town. But in Bridgetown, no murder case came before me. And when I was at Board Hall, no murder case came before me. St. Philip had very little crime. Most of the offenses in St. Philip were like riding bicycle without a light at night. They were very petty.
His memoirs have now been penned, and an audiobook is now in the offing.
My father's memoirs is a riveting account of his life as a schoolboy, a teacher, almost Anglican priest, law student, civil servant, magistrate, legislative drafter, attorney general, private practice lawyer, acting judge, and Queen's Counsel. It follows his journey from Barbados to London, Jamaica, and ultimately his home in the British Virgin Islands.
This outstanding Barbadian and regional legal luminary is proving that age is truly just a number. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.